Hi, good evening all. I really hope you can hear me, so please just let me know. Just type this in the chat section. Hi, Dr. Claudia, you can hear me well?
Hey, good evening. I hear you very well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for confirming this for me. And well, I am your host, Caroline, and welcome to our actually second live event today. And this time we are having another IVF webinar. Okay. And of course, let me remind you that some of you perhaps already joined us earlier today. So you all know about why we are here and also why we will be here every single day. But those who don't, let me introduce to you our newest Stronger Together initiative. Okay, and I don't know if you are able to put your question. Sorry, can you use the chat option? If you can, just let me know. Just want to make sure it works as it should, because I do not receive any comments yet. So please, if you could. Okay, I see someone is typing. So I guess it is all good now. Okay. Just making sure. Sorry about this. But not really sure if it's working. Just give me a second. It seems like our chat isn't. Oh, okay. Yes. Apologies about this, but I just wanted to make sure chat section here is definitely very important for us. So I just wanted to double check it. It seems that it's okay now. I see someone's message. Thank you for confirming this for me. And okay, in such case, as we are all struggling with how much different reality looks like nowadays with all that has been going on with the coronavirus everywhere, we simply want to give you a chance to learn, but also seek answers and meet the top fertility experts in the field. So that is why it will be possible to get started. So when it will be possible to get started with your treatment, you will be better prepared and you will be quite ready for it as well. And let me just remind you that every day from Monday till Friday we will be here 2 times a day. First event will be starting at 6 p.m. UK time. The other one will be starting at 8 p.m. UK time. So you can go ahead and pick the topic that is interesting to you and go ahead and just register. All right. And now let me introduce you to our expert today. Hi, Dr. Claudia.
Good evening to everybody
Hi, how
outside.
are you feeling today?
Very good. Thank you very much.
Happy to hear that. And Dr. Claudia Mika, she's actually the founder and CEO of Temos International Healthcare Accreditation. So she will explain what to look for when you are choosing a clinic, but also she will explain how her organization works in detail. And she will start with her presentation, and then it will be your time to ask your questions. Of course, she will answer them one by one. And finally, we know that the chat section is working, so you will be able to use it and type those questions in the chat section. And after the presentation, we will be showing all the questions one by one so that Dr. Claudia can answer. And that will be it from me at this point. Dr. Claudia, are you ready to begin?
Of course. So thank you very much, Caroline, not only for
Perfect.
the introduction, but also for the invitation. And it's a great honor and pleasure to support the initiative Together Stronger. So,
Happy to hear that.
yes, of course. So therefore, yes, my today's topics is how to check the quality of IVF clinics before going abroad. And before we go into the topic itself, allow me to give you my personal story, my own IVF experience. So when I was 26 years, which is more than 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. Some of you might know that. It can be very painful. It was painful, and I had surgeries. They tried to give me hormone therapy. One didn't work. The other had too many side effects. So in the end, I had to be operated 8 years in a row, and just to get rid of this stuff for the endometriosis. So, and quite early at that stage, the experts told me, the doctors told me that if I ever want to have a baby, if you ever want to have a family, I should be very careful and I should start early. So my former boyfriend, today's husband, and I decided, okay, let's change our life. What comes, comes. And we tried to get pregnant. So it didn't work. And when I was 35 years old, then we started with IVF. And I had 2 cycles and a lot of frozen eggs. So we had many transfers. I had 2 times when I was chemically pregnant, and 2 days later it was a negative result. So all in all, unfortunately, it didn't work. But there was, and this is my third point here on the slide, it developed different than expected. So first point is that the good point was that we couldn't blame each other, my husband and me. So we tried what we could try and it didn't work, and we thought it should have a reason. So we just accepted it and we got much closer to each other. The second was that we didn't tell our colleagues and we didn't tell our families, but we did tell our friends, and they accompanied us during the whole time. And when they saw obviously that we couldn't get pregnant, they asked us to be the godparents of their children. So over the years, we got 5 godchildren, and we were able to accompany children when they grow up. So my first godchildren just became 18 last month, and we celebrated. So that was a good development. And thirdly, already at that time, I was working on the quality standards for Temos, and I told myself, if we can develop Temos further and if we have our medical standards ready, there will be a time and I will develop standards for reproductive care centers. And obviously we did it. And this is what I would like to talk about the next 10-15 minutes. So that's my story. And it was a bit disappointing, but in the end, it turned to a very good life. And this is what I would like to share with you. So, what is the aim of accreditation for you as a patient? Why do we do what we do? So we do check the quality of hospitals and clinics worldwide. And we do it because we want to achieve better clinical and non-clinical outcomes. So every single woman who can get pregnant because of a very well implemented quality management system is one success. So we want to improve and to have better clinical and non-clinical outcomes. Then we want to improve your overall patient experience. You shouldn't make the same experience I had, which was not very nice. And at my time, I was not even thinking about going abroad. It was not possible at that time. At least I was not aware, let's say it like this. So overall patient experience from your first contact until the follow-up when you're going back home to your own country, this is what we want to improve. And from the quality perspective, from the formal perspective, we want that you receive treatment in a safe, secure, trustworthy, and therefore third-party accredited environment to assure the continuum of care for you from the first contact to the follow-up. This is the aim of accreditation from the patient perspective. And this is the main focus for today. Of course, we have also a lot of goals for the accreditation when we talk about the clinic perspective, but this is a different topic. So Temos International Healthcare Accreditation is quite young. We started only in 2010. You heard it before from my own story, and it was a spin-off of a European research project where I was involved in. And nowadays, Temos stands for Trust, Effective Medicine, and Optimized Services. This is, I think, for those of you who have already experienced that you need to trust your service provider, the clinics, the doctors, the nurses, you will get the treatment. And effective medicine assures that we get the best outcome nowadays we can get. And we always try and strive to optimize our services. And this is what we want to stand for, and this is what we want our accredited partners stand for. Trust, effective medicine, and optimized services. So what we are looking for from our perspective, before we come to your perspective as a patient, we have in our standards documents, we have 4 main sections, we have 17 chapters, and we have around about 350 standards we check when we visit the clinics. They are differentiated and divided in patient-centered, clinical and non-clinical services, communication, and communication will also be a part where we talk about later on, and cultural sensitivity. We are all coming from different countries. We receive treatment in different countries, and we need to have an impression about what's going on in the different countries. Then the second big part is organization, management, and administration. The third part is the pure quality management, outcome, ethics, and sustainability. And the fourth part is safety, security, infrastructure, and facility support. I will not bother you with all this. I just want to give you an idea. Here you see all the chapters with all the 350 standards, and these standards have to be fulfilled before a clinic can get the quality seal, which you see on the left side, for quality in international reproductive care as an accredited partner. So we want to stand with our standards for the highest international quality requirements that we fulfill, and therefore we got an accreditation ourselves. And this is what we transfer and forward to our accredited partners. So our Temos accredited clinics fulfill the highest international quality requirements. So how to check the quality of an IVF clinic before going abroad? What can you check as a patient? Or for those participants who are representing clinics, for what should you be prepared as a clinic, what patients may ask you in the future, or the importance of topics for the patient. The first point is, I mentioned that before, is communication. So user-friendly and well-constructed website. I think this is what you first do. You check the internet about information about the clinic. Is the information about the services provided transparent? Do you get all the information you need for your special treatment needs? Do you get information about all costs, not necessarily on the website, but later on in your communication with the clinic? Are there hidden costs? We don't want this. We want transparent information about packages. And if there are extra costs, they should be on the treatment plan. Then, is there any information on waiting times? In our situation for IVF treatment, sometimes we need to schedule something, we have to arrange something, but in other cases, we want to start now. So this is important to know how long you have to wait, what needs to be prepared. Then, is there any patient satisfaction information, or are there testimonials, really reliable testimonials available, which help you to decide if this is what I was looking for? But for the testimonials, you have to be a bit careful, because in some countries, they are simply not allowed by law. So if you don't find them, it doesn't mean that they do not exist. It might be that they are simply not allowed in this country. Then you might also check social media and see how the clinic is communicating via its social media. So this is all some points where you, via the communication, can also get your first impression about what's going on. Here you see a simple best practice example from a clinic in Colombia. And on the left side, you see two smiling people, and I think this is very positive. And when it comes to communication, because it's a Spanish-speaking country, they have just some buttons saying, I'm here to help you. I speak English and Russian. So patients feel very well accommodated and treated. And sometimes these are the easy things which help you to feel comfortable with the clinic you are looking for. So look for your own simple, easy things which give you a good impression about the clinic. The next point is to check the aim and rationale of the IVF unit. So the aims, the treatment offers, the rationales should be clearly stated on the website, in information brochures, or wherever you find the information in leaflets, etc. Sometimes you find on the website also something like mission and vision, and this is then the translation of aim and rationale of the IVF unit. Look for some elements of humanity, which should be mirrored through statements emphasizing on a compassionate care and respect before, during, and after the treatment. In this field, it's very important. And all this summarizes in the questions: do you feel well informed and in good hands by the presentation and information provided? What is your gut feeling when you see all this? You always have a gut feeling, and it should be a good one. And this means that you have all the information, you feel the human touch, and you feel, just well, you feel that you will be in good hands. Another point is now when we come to quality of services, the first is the processing. So from the first contact to the follow-up, what is the reaction time of the clinic to respond to your inquiry? Is this 24 hours? Is this a week? Do you get a contact person for your communication organization of the treatment plan, of the travel arrangements, and whatever? Or is it just an email with the greetings, you are XYZ clinic team? So look if you get a contact person, your personal contact person, where you can always communicate with. Is the treatment plan you receive from the clinic and the cost estimation transparent? Do you understand everything? Are there points which are not clear? And again, do you have a contact person to refer to and get your questions answered? Are there services for pre-travel, transportation, accommodation, sightseeing, etc. Offered where it is applicable and wished? So not everybody, of course, wants to get or needs support for that. But some clinics offer that. And if you are a person who wish to have the peace of mind package, then look for that if this is offered. And finally, follow-up and post-travel services. Treatment doesn't stop when you leave the clinic. There needs to be a follow-up and post-travel services by communication, by regular communication and follow-up. So this ends in the question, do I feel 100% prepared and ready to travel with what I have so far? Quality of professionals. Based on the offered reproductive care services, including medical doctors with training experience in reproductive endocrinology and infertility, laparoscopic and ultrasound-guided oocyte retrieval techniques, gynecologic sonography, male reproduction, and many other specific fields should be covered. But of course, every case is individual and you know your own case. So, do the doctors have the right qualification experience for your need? Not for anybody's need, for your need. So you have to check the clinic and have to ask for the qualification of the professionals which meet your needs. And there should be information available, or if it's not available on the website, then ask for it. Qualification experience is one thing. The other thing is the teamwork. So they all have to work together because they have different expertise and knowledge, and this has to come in a team to treat you and to serve you as much as possible and as good as possible. Some extra points, I put it in quotes, could be given when the information on the qualification experience is coupled with a personal statement. So if you see on the website that the doctors have a personal statement for you and for the other patients, of course, what they stand for, what their aim and goal is for your treatment. Do you see any scientific publications or participation research work? This could be a good evidence so that they know about what they're talking. Memberships in professional associations like the European Society of Human Reproduction and Embryology could be also published and displayed on the website and in the information, which altogether should give you a good feeling about the quality of the professionals. So the question here is, are qualification and experience of the professionals approved somehow? Embryologists should have different training, and depending on the size of the clinic, of course, we might have a head of the laboratory with respective academic degrees, and then down to clinical embryologists, which should have at least BSc in biomedical sciences. And here the question could be, does the clinic only advertise its laboratory, the technique, or also the qualification of its embryologist? Because in the end, we need a good technique, but the embryologists behind are doing the great work. So check for that as well. Technical aspects. Do we have high-tech equipment? Today we have great, highly sophisticated devices and material which we can use to improve the outcome. Is there any critical equipment defined? And now you see that is really the quality perspective behind my person. So we always need to see a backup device. What happens if there's only device and it's your cells or your material which is in the incubator and there's no backup device? So we need to have the critical equipment defined, and we have to have backup devices and materials for them. Clean room standards. Are they kept? Laboratory access, is this restricted? Laboratory air quality control assured? Of course, you don't need to know about all this, but is there any information about these points? And if not, ask for it. So challenge the clinic and the center in your preparation and assure that also from the technical aspects point of view, everything is there. Clinical aspects. We are all interested in the success rates. But is this the biochemical pregnancy rate, clinical live birth rates? Is it per embryo transfer, per frozen embryo, etc.? So the question here is, does the clinic explain its success rates in an understandable way so that you know exactly what it is about and that you can compare these rates and success rates with others? The last point is the external evaluation. So is there any certification or accreditation of a neutral and renowned third party? This could be that you see the ISO certification logo, which then would stand for that the laboratory is checked. The same is what we call the CAP accreditation. This is also for the laboratory. Then there is the ESTRA certification, only for the European clinics who are following the bylaws, or you have the Temos, Excellence and Quality in Reproductive Care seals, which I just gave a short introduction in the beginning. So is there or are there any reliable quality seals, and who and what is behind? And especially who and what is behind is very difficult to understand from a layperson, and therefore I would like just to give you a few points where you can see if the quality seal behind is a reliable one. So serious accreditation bodies are experienced and well respected in the market. They have transparent standards developed and regularly reviewed by the experts. And they do have experts also who check the clinic on site. There is a visit on site. It's not only that they get some documents via the computer and then there is a quality seal provided, or that they just pay for something, for a certificate, and nobody ever checked the clinic. So in our case, we have always quality experts, we have embryologists with us, so we can really assure that the laboratory and also the medical and quality-based services are checked as they should be checked. And these accreditation bodies should be authorized by a third party. In our case, it's ISQA. There are other national or international authorities who could do that to assure that what you see as a quality seal on the brochure on the website is really a good one. So, having said that, to summarize, do you think that the clinic offers high professional medicine and excellent laboratory services, and it combines high-tech equipment and state-of-the-art clinical and non-clinical services tailored to your individual profile and needs? And if the answers to these two questions are yes, then proceed and you found the right clinic. If the answers are no, don't go. There might be a better solution for you. So I hope that this introduction was useful for you. Thank you very much for listening so far, and I'm very much looking forward to your questions and comments now. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for this detailed information on how your organization works, Temos. And thank you so much for again being here. And that was very interesting. And I'm sure we all found it useful. We will find it useful. And yes, as you have mentioned, now that everything is working as it should, we will go to our Q&A session. So once again, let me remind you, please type all of your questions in the chat section and we will be showing them so that Dr. Claudia can answer them for you as well. And as I've mentioned, we already do have a question, so let me go straight to it. What are the main differences between countries? If a country is less expensive, does that mean that it's less quality of standards, or is it their standard of living? Thank you for question.
Yes, thank you for the question. And the answer is definitely no. If it is less expensive, that doesn't mean that the quality is necessarily less in this country. You're absolutely right. It's mainly the standard of living or the cost of living or the cost of services. So employees are less expensive than in other countries. So, and this in the end could lead to the fact that the treatment itself is less expensive without violating the quality. But it can also be that in expensive countries you have not good quality. So it's not a correlation between the two. It's individually to be determined and find out about the quality of standards.
So it's just that better to simply focus on the clinic rather than just simply location. Yeah.
Yeah, to focus on the clinic, to focus on the reputation, to focus on what is published about the quality, about the experience of other patients. And this can be that it's quite competitive prices compared to other countries, definitely.
Perfect. Thank you for the answer and your expertise on that. And let me go to the next question for you. Here it is. How to check clinic certification? I mean, I can always ask, but myself as a patient don't really know what to look at.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I try to explain a bit, that we are the experts, of course, to do the clinic certification. So that's for sure. And you can ask, that's true, but you cannot, you have to do a bit of your own homework. So if you see reliable, reputable quality seals somewhere, with the explanation about what was checked by an external certification or accreditation body, then this might help. But I totally agree that from the patient perspective, it is difficult to differentiate with what is a good seal and what is only for marketing and nothing behind. So the only thing is what I mentioned in my last two slides, that you look for those organizations which have a reputation in the market and ask the clinic especially for that.
And thank you again, okay, for your question and your answer, Dr. Claudia. And there's one question here. Okay, North Cyprus IVF Center, where can I find their accreditation?
So their accreditation is our accreditation, I assume. So we have a website, and you see it on the on the slides. If they are published, it's Temos worldwide.com, and you find all the information there. Thank you for asking. And of course, I will be available personally. You can find me on LinkedIn also.
Okay, so it's like you have a list, as I understand, correct?
And we have a list, yes. So
Mhm.
we, on the website, as I said, if you go to the accredited partner site,
Mhm.
then you find all the information about accredited partners.
Perfect. Okay, so as Dr. Claudia said, if you would like to know a bit more, you can drop us an email, and we will be happy to forward this to Dr. Claudia. She will get in touch as well, I'm sure. Okay,
Mhm.
thanks so much. And now let me go to the next question we have. The main problem I see when searching clinics is the success rate thing, as they are uncomparable. What would you advise to patients who are looking for the clinic through the success rates values?
Yeah, as I said in my slide, this is really a difficult point. I'm not the expert for success rates to say ask for this or this success rates, but the main problem is that you, as you also said in your question, there is something published and you can't compare it because you don't know what is the underlying data. So the only thing is, and we don't have a standardized publication worldwide of success rates where we say, okay, it's always this, the biochemical or whatever, and then per blah, blah, blah. So the only thing you can do is really to ask what is behind the publication of your success rates. And you have to do that for every single clinic. Otherwise, if you don't get the information, and even then, we have to say, unfortunately, some of these so-called success rates are faked data. And what to do? So when we go through to the clinics and do our accreditation, of course, we go through the data with our experts and we ask them, okay, what is behind? So we can know, but as a patient, you're absolutely right, it's very difficult. So the only thing I can recommend you is to ask them and to insist on getting the explanation of what is behind this so-called success rates per age, per transfer, etc., etc.
All right. Perfect. Thank you for explaining this. This is definitely very important. Success rates. Many patients definitely look at it. So thanks for this question and
I did the
helping
same. I
us.
did the same when I was in the situation. I checked,
Mm-hmm.
I Googled everything and I tried to understand it. And I was confused, more than confused than I got a
Yeah.
solution for myself because it was, you couldn't compare it because it was 20% here, it was 50%. So, but based on what? Unfortunately, yes, that's really a problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for uh, explaining this to us. Still, it definitely helps. All right. Okay. This is an interesting question we have here. If you would have to research the clinic, what would be three questions you would have asked them first?
Hmm. I would perhaps I have so many questions, but if I have to reduce it to 3 questions, perhaps I would ask for the success rates, but differentiated. So I would put the differentiation of the success rates in the first question. I would ask for the qualification of the doctors, and I would ask about the qualification of the embryologist and how many embryologists are there. These are 3 questions.
Yes, exactly.
I would have much more, but
Sure,
yeah.
everyone definitely has more questions, but
Yeah.
uh, only three were suggested, so
Yeah, therefore I stop it here.
no problem. Perfect. Thanks so much again. And let me go to the next question for you. What are the warning signs that we might not be aware of, but the ones which we should pay attention to and maybe change the clinic?
I would get warned if I am offered the cheapest treatment with the best outcome in the fastest time. This is one reason. So, as I said, or as we said, and with the first question, quality not necessarily means that the clinic needs to be very expensive because it depends on where the clinic is located. But if it is the best and number one in everything, but the costs compared to competitors in the same country are very low, then I would ask myself, where is the tricky point? And I would be warned. Quality has its price, definitely, and it should be, when we compare it to competitors in the same region, in the same country, then this should be an indication somehow and could be a warning sign on the other side.
Yes, okay, perfect, thank you. And I guess there are like many patients simply like are starting with the search asking for the cheapest, let's say, option. So I guess this is something you would definitely not recommend to do, as I understand, right?
Yeah, as I said, cheap doesn't necessarily mean to be low quality, but this has to be found out.
Mm.
And I would be very careful if I'm offered the cheapest price and I am promised the best outcome ever. This can't work because
Mm.
quality means that you have to invest in qualification of doctors and embryologists, in nurses and assistants, and in midwives, that you need to have backup devices, that you need to have perhaps 7 days a week embryologist in the clinic to be able to be available when it is needed, when it is the best time to do the work. And this is resources. This is money. And therefore, how can this work if it is only cheap, cheap, cheap?
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you so much for saying that and for explaining this to us. This is definitely quite often asked question. So thank you for sure for explaining all the details. Okay, we have another question with a little bit of a background story. So let me show you. Okay, I will be 46 this month and have used 2 donors for my last 3 IVFs. The first donor transferred resulted in a chemical, and the following 2 frozen with the same donor, and second donor did not result in pregnancy. How do I know if I need to change clinics?
That's a good question. And this is not a question to me, to be honest. I can just, if you allow, if you can forward me later on, I can forward this to our experts, to the embryologist, and to get their advice. But from my perspective, I have to say I don't want to give an answer, not to give a wrong answer here. So I'm more than happy to forward it and to find the right answer to this question, if there is a right answer. But I kindly ask for your patience to and to wait a bit until I get the answer later on.
Perfect. Of course, we will be more than happy to forward your question, and I'm sure Dr. Claudia can just simply, forward this again to the right one, so that they can provide you with the right answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Hope that's fine. Feel free to send me an email. I will put it in a second in the chat section, and we can definitely forward this. Okay. Thanks so much. And now let me go. This will be a longer question. Okay.
Okay.
So let me just give me a second. Here it is. A doctor has left a very well known clinic to start her own clinic. The doctor has offered six IPS references who were happy to speak to me. All gave me their stories and gave very good and were more than happy to answer all my questions, even if a couple of them had a bit of difficulty with their journeys due to their own genetic issues. How can I check them, as they are a new clinic and only have one patient so far, but treated thousands of couples in the clinic the doctor worked at over the last 15 years or so? Thank you for that question.
Yes, thank you for the question. It's a good question, definitely. If the clinic is brand new and the team is new and only the doctor has a very good reputation, as I understand from your question, from what you described, either you take a bit of the risk and trust in the experience and in the good reputation of the doctor, also assuming that now when the doctor has started his or her own clinic, knows how to have the team around, which assures that also in the new clinic, the new team has good services, or this is not enough at this moment and you wait, or you choose another clinic. But these are quite good evidences, let's say, at least for the reputation of the doctor. And I just say the doctor and the team is from the old clinic. So then should be fine. So if it's a new clinic and also the technical infrastructure is new and the team knows what they are doing, this all sounds good to me. So it's good evidence.
Perfect.
So I would be interested why you are hesitant regarding this this doctor and the team
Okay,
in
right.
the new clinic. So perhaps you can just
Exactly.
give me
Perhaps you can.
another another answer to that.
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
from what you described, it makes a lot of sense. Why not?
All right, perfect. If you would like to add anything, we will definitely get back to you right now. So just let us know. And actually, we will have quite a similar question. However, let's take a look. Do you think a young clinic is worth considering when they have experienced doctors and embryologists? Do new clinic have good quality standards? So
Yeah, it goes to the same direction. So if we have an experienced team with doctors and embryologists, they know from the past how the job is done and how the treatment has to be offered. So then, even if it's a young clinic, it can be a good team. And if they transfer what they learned quality standard wise from the old clinic, then of course it can work. So the problem with every new clinic is, as soon as new stuff comes, is there a new environment, new infrastructure, new equipment, of course it takes time to get into the daily routine in the new clinic. So that's one of the points where I would be a bit careful. But otherwise, why not? They can have good quality standards if they transfer the protocols they used to have to the new clinic. It can work well. And on the other side, if you have an old clinic, I mean, old in quotes again, compared to young and new, what you just mentioned, and you can even have a long established clinic which has no protocols at all and has not good quality standards. So young and old and new and experienced not necessarily means that this is the best outcome you can get. So it's the implementation of quality standards, following protocols, international state of the art, combined with experience, qualification, and technology. That all makes a clinic a good clinic.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for explaining this one to us as well. That is surely useful. And just looking at the questions, and we have another one right here. Okay. What do you think of clinics where patients do not have much contact with the doctor and they are delivered test results and information by coordinator only?
I think this is a question of taste, individual taste. I had this experience myself that the test results, I had to call and I was informed about the test result on the phone. I didn't like it. There might be patients who deal with it and they're okay with it, and others that might be more sensitive in a way that they want the results from the doctor themselves. Personally, but this is my personal opinion, is that this should be forwarded and delivered by the doctor and explained, because if the result is a negative result, then you as the patient have questions. Why? What could I improve? And the coordinator might not be the person who give the answers to these questions which might follow. And therefore, that's my opinion, it should be the doctor, an expert, who give you the test result. And personally, whenever
Perfect.
it's possible.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I guess it should be always like a balance. Yes, you should have
Yeah.
good communication with the coordinator, but when needed, of course, those medical stuff definitely should be discussed with the doctor, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much. And now let's go to the question we have here. What is the difference in grading of blastocysts from clinic to clinic? Do you have any option to tell us, to share it with us?
This is another question I would forward to my experts. So I am the quality expert,
Perfect.
but when it comes to really medical and stuff and questions for the
Of course.
embryologist, please excuse me. And I would like to follow that to really give the right and correct answer to that question.
That is not a problem. Of course, as I mentioned, sorry, I forgot to do it earlier, but you can forward all those to me, Caroline at ivfmedia.org, and I will be happy to forward them to Dr. Claudia. Okay, and she will definitely know what to do with them, and they will get back to you, of course.
Yes.
Okay, and now there is another question I have here. What type of filter would you prescribe to achieve a room with an air quality? Um, Sorry, I'm not sure I understand this correctly. Okay.
Yeah, it's what type of filter would you prescribe to achieve a room with an air quality compatible with a very good quality level? We have standards for that.
Okay.
And I would need to go into the details of our standards where we have exactly the clean room and the air quality, which is very important in the laboratory. But again, not to give you the wrong information now, I would like to first check exactly in our standards and to discuss it with our experts.
Sounds good as well. So we can still do it. Yeah. So please forward this, and I'll be happy to send it again. And Dr. Claudia, also, as I mentioned, will be able to get back to you. Hope that's fine. At this point, I don't see if we have any other questions, but let's wait and see. I'm sure you might have some more questions coming up. So feel free to type them all in. We will be slowly finishing, but I definitely don't want to end the event before we answer all of your questions. So let's give it a minute and wait for someone to send the question. Yep. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Let me show you here. Okay. Does your website indicate where these clinics are?
Yes, you find them on the website.
Hmm.
But at this time, since we only started last year with this new program, you will find 2 clinics in Greece and 1 in Russia, and others are in the application phase. So, yeah, depending on when we can travel again and continue our work worldwide with visiting of those clinics after the preparation, then we will continuously and hopefully add more and more clinics who went for accreditation and got our quality seal. But you find them on our website definitely, with
Perfect.
more details, also with the services they offer and more information. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. And how usually normally does it take, from the application part? Is it
To
like,
the final certificate of accreditation.
yes,
It depends a bit on what is already available, but the average would be that it takes 6 to 12 months to get then the final approval that the standards are
mm-hmm.
fulfilled. It
Okay, so
depends on how much time the clinic can invest, how many protocols are already implemented. This depends from country to country, so that's an average 6 to 12 months. Mhm.
all right. Thank you again for this question and your help. There is another question for you right here. Okay. Do you know what I should look for when it comes to accreditation in Ukraine?
The same. I mean, so it's what to look for in the Ukraine is the same what to look for in every other country. So I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly, but to look for regarding accreditation is the same everywhere.
Yeah, same standards. Yeah, so there is no
Same
like.
standards, same. So there shouldn't be a compromise
Okay.
regarding the quality standards, and they are valid worldwide.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you for confirming that as well. And we have another question here. ISO 9001 accreditation. Have you heard of them and are they trustworthy?
ISO 9001 is a system which is not specific for IVF centers, not even for medical organization. ISO 9001 is a quality management system. So every gym, every supermarket, every company, and every clinic can apply for ISO 9001 certification. And then it's just checked for its quality management. It can be trustworthy, and in any case, if it is applied and implemented correctly, and this is to be emphasized, applied and implemented correctly, it is definitely a good tool to implement a quality management system. As I said, it's not specific for medicine and not even for IVF. So you cannot expect that the quality of the laboratory is inspected in the way it, from our perspective, should be inspected. And the other problem is that, unfortunately, in many countries, ISO 9001 certificates are just purchased, or from the other side, are just sold. So, and this gives ISO 9001 certification, unfortunately, a bad reputation in some parts of the world, especially in Eastern European countries. We hear that very often, that no on-site visit took place, documents were not checked correctly, and from this perspective, I can't say 100% or give it a yes. Unfortunately not. Although it's a good system, underlying system, which is helpful. But due to the situation in the world that it is abused by some organizations, unfortunately, the answer cannot be a yes.
Okay, thank you so much for confirming that as well. And here's the next question here. Can you please name a few best accreditations that are useful for patients and which ones are useless?
Of course, I can only tell you that it's our own accreditation. No, I mean, especially for IVF clinics worldwide, combining the services for patients and the services of the laboratory, there are not many. Temos is the only system, accreditation system worldwide, which offers this holistic approach. Therefore, we just had the last question with ISO 9001. We have a special certification from ISO, which is only for labs, which is called 15189. This is then assuring that the laboratory is working well, but it's not including patient services. So therefore, the answer which are useless and which are useful, there are none which we could compare to each other.
Understood. Thank you so much again for explaining that. And there are two questions left, but if you have any other ones, go ahead and type them all in. This would be like our final call for those questions. So go ahead and do it now. And now let me go. This will be, I think, in such case, a bit question to the your teammates, right? What cause a member to be physically not there in the embryo straw? So it's the same. We will simply forward
Yeah.
this question to you so you can just check it with your teammates. And
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
sorry, don't worry. We definitely forward this. Okay, I am always typing the questions that I need to send, so no worries here. Thanks so much. Okay, and now let's go. It looks like it will be our last question for today. So let me go ahead with it. Would you think clinics are more clean than others? Are these more in Europe than the US? That this afford embryo transfer?
I definitely think that there are clinics which are more cleaner than others. Definitely. I wouldn't say that these are more in Europe than in the US. This is again an individual thing. So which protocols are implemented? And even if you're in a, let's take Germany, as I'm from Germany, so let's take the example from Germany. Although we have very strict legislation and protocols, etc., but how it is realized in the individual clinic, this is a different story. So I would never compare continents or even countries or even cities. You have to check the individual clinic, how the hygiene plans and the hygiene protocols, infection prevention is realized on the individual level within this clinic. This is the important thing. And of course, this affects the embryo transfers, definitely.
Of course. Thank you so much for again explaining this to us. I don't think we have any more questions, but if you do, and you wish to ask something, this is the time. As I mentioned, we are going to finish this in such case the our webinar. So I guess thank you again, Dr. Claudia, for helping us out here today. Definitely lots of interesting information, and also I would like to add that that Dr. Claudia is also our ambassador of our Stronger Together. So thank you so much as well for supporting this initiative. It's definitely important for us to have you here on board with it. So really happy to have you. Um, and is there anything else you would like to add?
I would like to thank you, and it's a great honor to be an ambassador of Stronger Together initiative. And it was a great pleasure to be with all of you tonight or this evening, depending on in which part of the world you are and you attended. So thank you very much for all your questions. Those questions where I was not able or what didn't feel too comfortable to answer them, you will get your answers. So please be assured about that. And yeah, whoever is in the process or started or thinks about going for IVF, I wish you all the best and that you get the result you are looking for, the outcome you expect. And yeah, my best wishes to all of you. Good luck and thank you very much for being with us tonight and listening to the presentation and asking all the questions. All the best to everybody.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And of course, we have some shout outs right here. Many thanks to you both. Thank you for joining us. We wouldn't be able to simply do it all with you being here. So thanks for that. And just wanted to just mention that we also we have, fortunately we do have some partners that also are helping us out. So those are Donor Conception Network, National Fertility Society, fertility clinics abroad, egg donation friends.com, and whereivf.com. So just wanted to remind you about that. And also, please remember you can follow us on our YouTube channel or our Instagram, but also don't miss out on all our live events, which will be held every single day. Next one is tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time. Then we will have another one at 8 p.m. UK time. And as I've mentioned, we are going to have those events from Monday till Friday, every day, twice actually a day. So I am sure you will. And also, one more thing, you will find all of our previous webinars also on our brand new website, IVF, myivfanswers.com. And well, I wish you all the best. Okay, stay safe. And thank you, Dr. Claudia, once more. Thank you all for being here and have a lovely, lovely evening too. Thank
Take
you.
all good care and good night.
Good
Bye bye.
night. Bye bye.